Leather crafting is a very old trade. It has been around for about 3,300 years based on the artifacts that we have. Typically, if you have good quality leather, it lasts very long. You know, especially if you go out of your way to take care of it, it'll even last longer. Every little aspect of putting these things together from a craftsman, a lot of thought goes into every little piece. You can go to an antique shop and you'll see a leather belt that was made several years ago. Still is holding up great. You could still use it for another lifetime. You're not really going to see a whole lot of that with nylon or textiles. For me, I've always said, as long as I'm alive, I'll fix your stuff, like lifetime warranty, you know. You know, it's an art form in itself of doing all this, and it takes time to be able to know all the nuances of putting these things together. I was a drum tech for a country artist named Chris Stapleton. I mean, I've been touring since I was about 15 years old, so I've never really done much else at that point. I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to tour, and I've played drums most of my life. And so I saw that as kind of an opportunity because my parents were busy doing stuff. So I was like, okay. So I dropped out of high school and I found a band in Tampa because I was living out in Florida at the time. Linked up with this band. They were going on tour. They were just booking their own shows on MySpace. And so I was like, hell yeah, I'll do that. So jumped in a van with them when we toured across the country. And that's kind of how I got my feet wet in the touring industry. And I was just excited to be playing drums and not be in school and, you know, just doing what I wanted to do. I got started into leatherworking when I was touring in 2014. The band I was with currently then, we had a long bus drive from California to Austin, Texas. And we stopped in a really small town. I was just walking around this little city and I walked past this window and I saw this old man making leather boots and belts and things like that. He just looked super happy and he was excited to be there. I went in and talked to him for a little bit. He just loved to work with his hands. He wasn't trying to make a bunch of money. He was just trying to do what he loved to support his family. Or when I got home from that trip, I went to a local leather shop and I picked up some supplies. I took a basic hand stitching class. I knew I just wanted to make some wallets to hand out to some friends just for fun. I went home and made some wallets, sent them to some friends, and that's kind of how I got started. Obviously there's woodworking and other things like that, but I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment in downtown Salt Lake at the time. I didn't have a place to put all that crap. So with leatherwork, I could buy a few tools and I could do it in my apartment in a small desk. When I very first started doing leather goods and figured I was actually going to stop touring at that time, I had been touring for quite a long time and I think I just needed a break from it. Because sometimes I would be on the road 10 months out of the year, which is a long time. And I was excited to do something new. And then it kind of just went from there. I think American-made leather goods are superior to something you'd buy in China is because there's care and purpose behind it. For the most part, it's not just money-driven. I try to get all my materials as much as I can made in the US as well, which is generally a lot better quality. So you're going to get better hides, you're going to get better thread. The quality control is 10 times better. All the tanneries I buy from get their hides from ranches in the United States. These tanneries are getting their hides from the meat industry, so these hides aren't just strictly used for leather, which I think would probably drive up the price anyway, but some places around the world do that. But I try to make sure that, once the animal's used for meat, they take the hide and then it's sold to the tanneries and then they turn it into the leather. I make functional leather goods. I make stuff that you can use on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. A lot of stuff I make is wallets, belts, keychains, stuff for outdoors, stuff for your everyday carry, stuff that keeps your pants on, Even if someone's not necessarily using it outdoors a lot, I know it's going to stand up fine. You can connect to the person who made it for you, which has been really fun doing this business. I've been able to gain relationships with my customers because they can shoot me a text and ask for something and they can be very specific. I can send them pictures along the way and they get excited about it. I think I get the sense of pride when I actually see somebody or run into somebody who has my product. I take pride in that because wow, I actually get to see it in use. When I first started doing leather goods, I definitely challenged myself as much as I could. Not only to just make something really hard, but also to make something that people would enjoy to have as well. So I wanted to make something that was challenging, yes, but also something that was useful to people. There's intention behind it, and there's thought and there's concentration and time, put into this product. I've encountered a lot of people who don't understand the price point and the importance of American-made, handmade, and you have to educate people on why that's important. There's always room for improvement and always room to educate people on why it's important as Americans to keep this handmade craftsmanship, made in America, the materials made in America as much as possible, why it's important to keep that alive.